Krzyżacy, the Knights of the Cross, is a story-driven deck-building RPG set in the story of Krzyzacy, which is a historical novel by Polish author Henryk Sienkiewicz, and it was published in the year 1900. In 1905, Henryk got a Nobel Prize in Literature for outstanding merits as an epic writer, so it was probably a really good book. The novel is set in medieval Poland and is about the conflict between the Kingdom of Poland and the Teutonic Knights, which was a Germanic military order that wanted to conquer and Christianize the pagan tribes of the Baltic region. It's a love story between the knight Zbyszko and some woman named Danusia, who is kidnapped by the Teutonic Knights. So, I thought it was an interesting setting in a Polish environment developed by some Polish studio. But what we have here is a Chinese roguelite deck builder where you recruit team members in the war against the Teutonic Knights. I didn't really notice that it was a Chinese game until I saw this. But if I had noticed, I would have skipped this one, as these games often are quite bad. So, is this game any good? I'd say no, not according to my preferences. The game is both quite shallow with its game mechanics and has poorly written characters and dialogues which are unskippable. Sure, you can speed them up, but they are still there and waste your time from run to run, as you have to click for the dialogue to appear and then once again to go to the next text box filled with meaningless words that stand between you and the gameplay. In this game, with an almost unpronounceable name, Krzyzacy, or something, sorry Polish people, you have 3 difficulty levels, with 2 unlocked from the start. You fight battles with cards, gain experience if you win, and perhaps a card or a relic or just some gold. As expected, the cards get better as you progress, and so does the relics, which boosts you or your squad in one way or another. Everything is very basic, and anyone who's ever played a deck builder should have 0 problems with getting into this game. Between battles, you have this map, where there's a camp and different quests. You have the main quest and side quests. The difficulty is marked with stars ranging from 1 to 5. At the camp you can, most often, heal, buy relics and cards, remove cards, compete in trials, and also recruit new characters for your team. But it's random what NPCs are there every time you go in, so if you're unlucky, the one you need is not there, for example the healer or the recruiter. When you're going into battle, you for some reason get a loading screen that steals anything from 3 to 5 seconds of your life. Considering how basic the game is with its pixel art graphics, the world map and the battles, I must say that the game is poorly optimized. In battles you can speed up the battle animations with a max of double the speed, which also feels like a time waster after a while, since the battles can be a bit long. A 4 times or 8 times the normal speed would have been a nice option to have in my opinion. Especially if you get into an extreme war of attrition when you meet enemies that buffs larger and larger amounts of armor for every turn and you don't really have the cards to handle the situation. I got stuck in a couple of those and only had one card that did so-called true damage, aka damage to health points and not armor, and I had to grind about half an hour or so before defeating the enemies. If one gets caught up in such a situation, it's probably a good idea to just die and start anew, depending on how far you're into the run. But that is also not really a good idea, since you'll have to go through the cumbersome clicking and waiting to advance the story once again, which gets annoying as hell. As this is a roguelite, you also have a talent tree you can level up for the next run that will make you a bit stronger. Yada yada yada. The score for me ends up on a 4 out of 10. I really like the concept. It's not every day you get to fight for Poland and pixel art graphics, but the execution is, in my opinion, subpar, and the game is wrongly priced at its $15.99. This should have been a $6.99 game, and I wouldn't have been so annoyed at all at the flaws, but it's way too expensive considering what you actually get. This is, at best, a game for people that hate their money and have a lot of time to kill. Peace out, people.